Hello students, welcome to English class. So today we will start with our second poem, An Elementary School Classroom in a Slum, written by Stephen Spender. From its name, it is clear that this poem is about a classroom in a slum. Slum means basti. So in this poem we will read about an elementary school classroom of a slum. So, Stephen Spender was a poet and English essayist. Spender had keen interest in politics, so he declared himself as socialist and pacifist. His work concentrated mainly on the themes of social injustice and the class struggle. So, in this poem, such type of environment he depicted before us. Introduction to the poem. The poem is written by Stephen Spender, which describes the social inequalities which are prevailing in society. In the poem, he describes the condition of the students of elementary school which is situated in a slum area. The poet wants to draw attention of everyone towards these kids so that their life can improve and they may get trained to become good citizens rather than criminals. So here in this poem, the poet wants that to draw our attention towards these children so that their life can be improved, their future can be bright. So without wasting time, we will further start with the first stanza of this poem. Here you are watching a picture. In this picture, there are some children which are sitting in a classroom. As we can say that these are slum children and sitting in their classroom. Far, far from gusty waves these children faces. Far, far from gusty wave means that far away from open and healthy environment. These children faces are like rootless weeds. The hair torn around their pallor, the tall girl with her weighed down head, the paper seeming boy with ragged eyes. So, pointing towards the pathetic condition of the children in a slum school, the poet says that their life is in sharp contrast to the open and healthy environment beyond their slums. He compares the hair of these children to rootless weeds, which are scattered over their pale faces. Rootless weeds means unwanted plants, that their hairs are like unwanted plants which are scattered around their pallor means pale faces. One of these children is a tall girl whose head is dropped under the burden of her unwanted life. A small boy in the same school is very skinny. Paper seeming boy means skinny, very thin boy. The poet compares him to the thinness of paper. His eyes display a look of timidity as if they were a rat's eyes. So here in this stanza, the poet describes about the faces of these children, about their hair, about a tall girl whose head is way down, and about the thin boy. Now furthermore, in second stanza, the poet is telling about that thin boy. The stunted, unlucky ear of twisted bones reciting a father's gnarled diseases, his lesson from his desk at back of the dim class, one unnoted, sweet and young, his life eyes live in a dream of squills came in tree room other than this. So this thin boy with rat eyes is an unfortunate ear. Ear here, unlucky ear means unlucky successor, means unlucky son of an unlucky father. Stunted means not properly developed. Of twisted bones, reciting a father's gnarled disease means he has inherited nothing from his father but his disease. He recites his lesson from his desk in a weak voice. Both his voice and appearance are like his father, deforming disease. So, furthermore, the poet says that at the back of the dim class, then the poet draws attention towards a remote corner of this poorly lit and ill-equipped class where one can see a young people who is not noticed by other. This innocent kid is lost in the world of his dreams. In his fantasy, he plays on tree like a squirrel in her tree room. Here we are seeing in this picture that there is a skill on a tree. The boy is dreaming like same, like he is playing outside on trees. The dullness and the sadness of this classroom has not yet shattered the power of his imagination. Means the boy is still imagining about freedom, about nature, about how to play outside. Moving towards a third stanza on sad creamy walls, donation. Shakespeare's head, cloudless at dawn, civilized dome, riding all cities, belt flory, Torley's Valley, open-handed map, awarding the words its worth. In this stanza, the poet described the condition of the infrastructure of the school. The classrooms are ill-maintained and the walls are painted in a lifeless cream color. They make the world of these children even more dull and depressing. And on the walls, the name of the people who donated money to the school are displayed. In one corner of the room is placed portrait of Shakespeare with his bust against the background of a clear sky. Picture of Toll's Valley with its beautiful flowers presenting a world of the heavenly beautifulness have also been displayed. It is ironical that the students in this room will never get a chance to benefit from the wisdom of Shakespeare, nor will ever get an opportunity to admire the beautiful scenery offered by the flowery valley. Beside all these things, a map of the world is also hung on the wall. This open-handed map offers bounty only to those who already have things in abundance. So here in this stanza, the poet displayed before us some of the things that are present in the classroom. Firstly, he tells us about the creamy walls of the classroom. Secondly, portrait of Shakespeare, and then Trollsey Valley, then a world map. But all these things are useless for these kids because they never get a chance to get benefit from the wisdom of Shakespeare. They never get chance to go outside and play in nature and get happiness from nature. And the map only gives to those who already have everything in abundance. But this map is of worth nothing to these children. Now moving to our next stanza. And yet for these children, these windows, not this map, their word, were all their future painted with a fog, a narrow street sealed in with a lead sky, far, far from rivers, caps, and stars of words. To these children, the true word is not the one depicted in this map. The map displayed in their room, in their classroom, is not the true picture, is not their word. Their word is what they get to see through the foggy window of their classroom. It means their slum outside their classroom. Their world is dark and their future is also dark with no hope for improvement. They can only see a narrow path by a dull sky that leads them away from the natural words of river, mountains, and stars. So here the poet says that the map is not their word. Their word is that they can see outside the window of their classroom. There is a narrow street of a dull sky with the dull sky that leads them far, far away from mountains and stars and rivers. So, moving towards our next stanza. Surely Shakespeare is with the map a bad example with the ships and sun and love tempting them to steal for lives that slyly turn in their cramped halls from fog to endless night. So here the poet says that surely Shakespeare is very cunning. Shakespeare is wicked. मतलब of no use. The picture of Shakespeare in room is of no use for these children. And map is also a bad example. Because the Shakespeare is presenting the scenery, the sun, the love, the nature, which is of just no use for these children. The beautiful word of ships, sun, and love, as shown by Shakespeare, is not only unimaginable for them, but it tempts them to resort to stealing in order to complete their feeling of hunger. Similarly, the word map too are a bad example for the view offered by them is in contrast to the cramped existence where they are held up from foggy morning to harsh night, means their life is taking them from foggy morning to endless night. Now, next stanza. On their slag heap, these children wear skin peeped through by bones and specks of steel, with mended glass like bottle bits on stones. All of their time and space are foggy slum, so blot their maps with slum as big as doom.